Signe? Hallå? Det verkar vara på mute.
Inte nu va? Nu funkar det.
Okej. Ja, det stod att du hette Martin.
Jag såg det.
Ja, kul att de har börjat spela in nu.
Ja, jag såg det också. Det var därför jag var lite så här, ska vi starta det verkligen?
Ja, men hon ringde mig och var jättestressad.
Oj då.
Så att, och jag tänkte också att det kan vara lika bra ifall att det inte... Men nu vet vi i alla fall att det funkar.
Yes.
Bra. Ska
Kan
vi
du-
testa hela
Ja.
presentationen?
Jag ska se, det är... Där. Så.
Perfekt. Gud, jag börjar bli lite nervös.
Nej, var inte det. Jag kommer på så. Jag vet inte vad vi har sagt om frågor.
Nej, vi tar in en slide i slutet där det är questions. Men ja, man får hoppas att man kan svara på allt.
Ja, vi är 2.
Ja. Okej, men då tar jag då i början.
Mm.
Och sen så tar du över på den där what constitutes a healthy
Ja.
diet.
Exakt. Eller den här preventive tools. Eller?
Ja, exakt. Ja. Och sen så tar jag över igen på den där 32 Lifesum for Work.
Mm.
Och sen så tar du första på Product Overview. Och sen när det kommer till Life Score så tar jag sista.
Så. Så jag bara kolla att det går att flippa. Ska vi se om den bys. Ja, bra. Så pass.
Alltså bilden på mig, jag är typ helt orange. Jag vet fan vad det är som har hänt. Jag typ att det blir en stol eller en konstig med typ ljuset eller...
Men de här bilderna också, alltså de här studior, vi tog ju sådana personalfoton för år sedan, det är typ 3 år sedan. Och det, alltså det är ljuset också, man ser så blek ut. Det var också, varför tar ni dem i typ...
Jättesnyggt i den där bilden.
Alltså det var typ i det värsta tiden, typ mars. Man bara, jag kan inte leka vad jag är just nu. Alltså det är liksom, kan vi inte ta...
Men ni visste ändå om innan att det skulle vara fotografering den dagen.
Ja, de sa typ bara på någonting svart.
Hade det varit segt om de bara, det är fotografering idag. Är det sånt?
Man bara, nej, inte idag. Ska vi se om min röst håller. Det är bra att du också så kan...
Ja, jag har preppat faktiskt med ett glas vatten här. Jag tänker att du brukar ju behöva det. Så att jag kan
det var ju något som men det var nog det jag skulle spela in. Jag fick sitta och dricka typ 15 koppar te innan. För att det var så här, min röst som håller på där.
Ja.
Hemskt.
Ja. Men det jag undrar över är ifall vi ska, i och med att det är recording nu, kommer du, om du loggar ut och loggar in igen, måste du få en ny kod från henne då? Eller hur funkar det?
Nej, jo det måste jag kanske få.
För jag tänker ifall det här nu spelas in.
Ja, jag kan ju dock starta
med.
Ja, jag kan säkert starta eller avsluta mötet och starta igen kanske.
Ja.
Ska vi testa det?
Ja, men när ska vi hoppa in då?
Vi får hoppa in typ 5 minuter kanske. Och sen så funkar det inte.
Exakt.
Jag vet inte hur det blir. Jag måste stänga av Slack också.
Men nu när jag är co-host, ja precis. Så nu ringer hon här. Jag tror det tar så här. Hi Charlotte!
Hi, I just wanted to say that I joined the webinar and it's working. That's very good.
Yes.
But I just thought that thing is, there's the name of Martin. She's our colleague and
Yes.
she can change her name. She has anywhere on her profile pic or anywhere there should be 3 points and then she can click on these 3 points and change her name.
Okay.
If she wants it.
Yes.
It's not problem
Great.
for us, but just maybe it would be a bit confusing for everyone.
Yes. I was just thinking, since we're already in the meeting and it already recorded, do you want us to jump out and then jump in again?
No, it's no problem. We can cut the video.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, see you soon.
Have fun.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Ja, men toppen. Lyckades du? Ja, men perfekt. Nu är det på mute, men jag ser att du har ändrat ditt namn. Så det är ju bra.
Precis. Kan man se. Det var så mycket flikar uppe. Man vill se typ hur många. Du ser fortfarande min skärm. Just det.
Jag funderar på när vi behöver byta jag behöver byta slides.
Jag tror,
Då får du bara skicka. Så kan jag säga till dig. För att det blir konstigt om jag ska börja dela min skärm och ändra och så. Kanske.
Precis, det är bättre att vi kör. Det är redan folk som är här.
Oj, är det som väntar?
Men jag tror nej, de är redan inne. Så de hör oss. Det står att det är 6 stycken som är med.
Aha. Då ska vi sluta prata då och kanske sätta igång prick.
Ja, det blir jättebra. Jag stänger
kör den där på helskärm också då. Grymt.
Hey, we started shortly. We're just waiting for the last participants to join the meeting.
All right, so I think we can go ahead and start. It's 1 minute past, and the people that will join a bit later can just jump in whenever. So warmly welcome to this webinar hosted by us at Lifesum. We are going to talk about the importance of healthy eating in the corporate field. And us hosting it is me, Cecilia, and I work as an account manager here. And together with me, I have Signe, our nutrition.
Hi. Yes, so very excited to have this webinar together with Cecilia. So should we get started?
Yes, let's do it. So the agenda for today, first we're going to talk about a little bit about our history and how we started and where we are right now. And then we're going to go through why healthy eating is so important. And then Signe is going to talk a lot about nutrition, her expertise area. Then, of course, we're going to go through Lifesum for Work and what we can do to help employees in their health journey. And then we're going to look a little bit at Lifesum and our product to go through some of our main features. And then in the end, we will have some room for questions.
Yeah, so if you have any questions like during the webinar, you can just like type them in the chat box or in the QA section, and we'll go through them in the end.
Great. So Lifesum was founded actually back in 2013 here in Sweden, Stockholm, where me and Signe are working in our headquarters. So the reason why it started was actually that one of our founders, he had some pretty bad health conditions, and then he really wanted to get better, of course. So he really started to do a lot of nutritional changes, and it had a huge impact on his health and, of course, his entire life. So then he thought like, okay, if I can do these changes and feel this much better, then I want to do something bigger with this. So that's mainly why Lifesum started almost 10 years ago. And we have grown a lot since then. Back then it was just a business to consumer product. We reached our 10 million members in 2015, and now we're about 50 millions, which is super exciting. We started, as I said, in Sweden and then in the Nordic countries, and then we grew through Europe. And then by 2017, we had our platform launched in the US. And then as late as by the end of 2019, we started what we call the Lifesum for Work, where we help employers and employees. And that's where I come in. I actually started a little bit more than half a year ago, and I am just working with Lifesum for Work, working with partners and how employers and employees can benefit from our platform, which is super exciting. Yes, so we can go to the next slide. And you can click through. So we today have 2 offices, one in Stockholm and Los Angeles, but we have 70 employees with 18 different nationalities working all over the world. I'm not going to go through all of these numbers, but we have a lot of registered users. We have so much food and data and interesting facts tracked in our app, which is so amazing to see. and so many people's lives that we have affected and changed, which is super exciting for all of us that are working here. Yes, we can go to the next one. So healthy eating simplified is what we call that we're doing. We are all about nutrition, differentiated by design and enabled by technology. So we want to make healthy eating simple and very easy, and this very fun as well through design. Because I mean, a lot of people know how to eat healthy. Everyone knows that it's better to eat broccoli than chocolate, yet not everyone does it all the time. So we want to have the best tools to help people do this. So design is super important to create some kind of gamified experience, but then also technology, of course, working through your phone, because everyone is on their phone like all the time, every day. So Lifesign lets you create personalized diets and meal plans and also track your food and routines. But we will show you more about this later. And we have experts in-house, such as nutritionists like Signe. We have chefs, many years of experience that will help motivate people getting a better and healthier life. And we really want to encourage people to feel better, switch and grow. So to sum up, we can go to the next slide. We say that life is the sum of everything that you do. And the cornerstone to health comes through a good diet. Always interesting to do this when like Signe is doing all of the speaking, but I think we will manage. All right, so well-being starts with what we eat. So we like to look at this graph where there was a survey made from Statista, where they asked, how do you rank diet, sleep, and exercise to overall health and well-being? And what we can see from this survey is that 35% of the respondents say that diet is the most important factor. The problem is that eating healthy can be simple, but it's not that easy, unfortunately. The next slide, please. And you can press. Yes, on the other hand, it unfortunately looks like this. And this is the reason actually I work at Lifesign, because I feel like there is so much that we can do and so many health problems in the world. And it's, yeah, we really wanted to make a change. And I think that's also the reason why Signe is here, because we want to really be part of something bigger where we can contribute. So we can see that our food is killing us. Type 2 diabetes cases are projected to be doubled by 2045. And we can see that 20% of deaths in the US are attributed to diet-related diseases. Heart disease is the #1 thing that people die from in the US. And yeah, obesity is called a chronic ongoing medical problem, just like diabetes. And by 2025, so just in 3 years, half of all Americans will be considered obese. And 70% are actually already today classified as overweight. So this is really a big, big problem. And this is coming down in ages. It's quadrupled in adolescents over the last 30 years. So yeah. And we can see that this is just the US, but the trend is like all of the other countries in the world are following this trend. Yeah, but we can see that what you eat actually really makes a big difference. Studies have shown that eating more fresh foods and veggies can lower rates of cardiovascular mortality, reduce the risk of obesity, and help manage type 2 diabetes symptoms. So by eating better, we can prevent all of the things that were in the past slide. Also, looking one step further, we can see that just not on the individual plan, we can see that the healthcare spending in the US, 85% of those stems from diet-related chronic diseases. And we can see that healthy prescribed foods could save over $100 billion in healthcare costs. So yeah, just like this image, maybe it's a little bit silly in the bottom, but we really believe that this is a way to go. That could be better and easier for just not the individual, but also like workplaces and for example, in this case, US healthcare systems, like the government spending. So new workout trends and miracle supplements often overshadows. Yeah, sorry. Overshadows the role of just eating healthier foods. Yeah, so here's an image of the graph of what the trend looks like. The numbers are a bit small, but they start at 1975, and we can see that they are just increasing. And the US is in top, but then all other countries are following the same pattern, unfortunately. On the right-hand side, though, we can see data from Lifesum, our app, which is the opposite direction, which is super interesting and exciting for us to see, of course, that we can change people's lives into the better. Of course, it's not always, just want to mention, about like losing kilos or like pounds, because we really want to focus on like the holistic approach of healthy eating. So it's not that always someone needs to like lose weight in order to feel better, but it's just like a comparison here to this graph with overweight. That was the issue. So yes, I will leave it over to you, Signe.
Thank you. So yes, what Cecilia mentioned, like we have a huge increasing problem over the world today. But the good thing is that there are preventative tools against overweight and obesity. With the right knowledge, a balanced and healthy diet and regular physical activity, you can fight the prevalence of it. So we should first start about talking to what constitutes a healthy diet and what is health. Because as Cecilia mentioned, like many of us know that like maybe a broccoli is more healthy for us than a piece of chocolate, but it's not really that easy either. And to be healthy is also an extremely broad term. It's not just like the absence of overweight and obesity, but it includes so much more than that. So it's our mental health, that we feel like good in our minds and that we are like not stressed or have anxiety, our physical health, that we don't like have any pains in our bodies, that we can do whatever we want to do, that we can run, that we can sit, that we like are without pain and can do everything we want to do in life. It also includes that we get proper sleep and rest, so we get enough recovery from our daily lives. And that can be very challenging, like if you have young kids, but those years, like you tend to survive them and then you just move on. But it's really important to get enough recovery in your life. And then we have a balanced diet and a good relationships towards food. And that's really important as well, because it's not just about eating like the healthy food items, but it's also your relationships towards food. So we need food to survive and to live. We shouldn't just live to eat food. So we need to have a balance there too. So it shouldn't like take over, because then it can be unhealthy as well. And to be healthy also includes to have enough energy to do everything we want to do in life. We should be able to go to work and then spend time with the loved ones and do whatever we want to do. If we want to go for a run, if we want to paint, if we, whatever, like our hobbies is to go to a concert, that we have enough energy to do all of those things. And then of course, to don't have too high stress levels. And that's a really common issue nowadays too, that people are too stressed. And that even impacts our health as well, of course. So what is a healthy diet? Well, that's a diet filled with nutrient-dense food, such as vegetables, like of all kinds. So we have like Brussels sprouts, tomatoes, lettuce, zucchini, eggplants. Like there are so many varieties out there. It's not just like lettuce, tomato, and cucumber, which people tend to think sometimes, but it's so much more than that. Then we have fruit and berries, and it's the same here. Like it's so many different kinds that you can include in your diet. And we have whole grains as well. And that means that you keep like the whole kernel of the seed, so you don't remove any parts. So when you like refine a grain, you take away all of the good things. You take away the fibers and you take away a lot of vitamins and minerals. But when you have a whole grain, you get all those good things. And what's common for all of these three different food groups is that they are high in dietary fiber and high in vitamins and minerals, which all are vital for our health. And then we have unsaturated fat, which is really important for our health as well. And many people are a bit scared of fat because they think like, if I eat fat, I will get fat. But it's not really how it works. So when we speak about fat in dietary terms, we tend to like divide them into two different groups. So we have saturated fat, which we should try to eat a bit less of, because if we have a high amount of saturated fat in our diet, it can increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. But if we instead focus on eating a lot of unsaturated fat, it can actually decrease the risk of cardiovascular diseases. And unsaturated fat is found in foods like avocado, olive oil, nuts, seeds, canola oil. So try to include those things in your diet as well. And then we have protein, of course, which is really important for many of you probably know that it's good for our muscles, but it's also important for our enzymes, for our hormones. And protein doesn't only exist in animal-based products such as eggs or meat or chicken, but it also includes it's a lot in grains, such as like pasta has a lot of protein, quinoa, oats, and lentils, and beans. So and tofu, tofu is a great protein option as well. So you can get a lot of protein from plant-based options as well. And then we have foods we need in smaller amounts. And those foods are nutrient poor but energy dense foods, such as candy, cookies, soft drinks, chips, ice cream, and energy drinks. And the reason that we need smaller amount of these foods is because they are so high in energy, but they are poor in nutrients. So then it can be quite tricky to get enough nutrients, but still stay within your energy requirement. So either you tend to go over your energy requirement or you get too few nutrients. So it's a balance there. So why is food so important? Well, first of all, it provides us with energy, and it ensures that we have a balanced energy level throughout the day, so we can do all of the things we want to do. And I mean, many of us have probably experienced those dips in the afternoon where we just feel super tired and hungry and a bit angry maybe even. But then it's a good thing to include a healthy, nutritious snack in your daily routine. It also provides us with essential nutrients, for instance, some fatty acids are essential, which means that we need to get them from the food we eat. And also many vitamins and minerals are essential that we need to get from the food we eat as well. It also ensures that our bodies and all this organ works as supposed to, both short and long term. So for instance, as we talked about before, it makes sure that we keep away all of the diseases, but also that everything works smoothly, that our lungs work and our blood streams, all of those things in our body is impacted by the food we eat as well. It also contributes to normal growth and development. So this is of extra important for adults and children, which is in a growing phase, but it's also important for all of us, because we constantly renew our cells, and then we need protein, we need fat, we need carbs for energy. So it's really important with food for all growth and development as well. And it also prevents disease, as we've previously been talking about. And then we shouldn't forget about the social aspect of food. I mean, food is a time when we have our meals, it's a time to gather all of the ones we love, for our colleagues to gather in the lunch area where we can sit and talk about other things that work. And that's super important as well. Because we just gather around food and we talk about food, and we have all the culture behind food is really important as well. It's not just eating a broccoli and then you're done, but food is so much more than that as well. And then of course we have hydration as well, which is vital for well-being. And water is needed for basically everything in our body, for our brains, lung, heart, blood, skin, our digestions, and our stomachs working as supposed to, and also for our eyes. And how much hydration you need is very individual, and it depends on your body composition, how much you sweat, what you're doing, how much physical activity you're including in your life, and also the climate you live in. And a great way to ensure that you get enough water is to use the Lifesum water tracker, because some people just tend to forget to drink during the day, but then it can be a great way to track how much water you drink, and just to see on a regular basis, how much do I actually drink? Do I need more? And it's really important with balance as well, because even though you shouldn't eat chocolate every day, you can still include chocolate every once in a while in your diet, because there's no single food item that's so healthy that you should eat it all the time. nor is something so unhealthy that you never should eat it. So it's all about having a very balanced and healthy diet in line with your individual energy requirement. And it's quite common that people think that, like, if I should start eating healthy, I need to go all the way. I need to go from 0 to 100 overnight, but that's not really how it works, and that's not sustainable at all. So people tend to think that they need to start a super restrictive diet in order to succeed, or having a too large calorie deficit, or like just eat like 1,000 calories per day, or trying an excessive workout plan that only lasts for 1 day probably, or just trying to have too many changes at the same time. But all of these things tend to lead to failure and the feeling of failure as well. And that's not a word I even want to use when we talk about food and living, because you're doing things to learn, you're doing things to feel good about yourself. So it's better to start slow and just like incorporate new habits along the way, because starting slow and sustainable is more likely to succeed with your life. So it's better to think about addition versus restriction. So think of all of the things that you can add to your life instead of things you should exclude. So it's better to think like, I will include at least 1 vegetable to each meal in my daily meals, instead of thinking like, oh, I will exclude everything rich in carbohydrates, because then that won't likely last for long. And Lifesum is all about promoting sustainable habits, because quick fixes or extreme diets often lead to failure. So it's much better to start easy, like start changing one thing, or just start adding 1 vegetable to each meal, or try to have 1 plant-based meal per week, or just like, change some of your sweets to fruits instead. Or like, you can start small, whatever way you want to improve.
And make it fun rather than a punishment.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we should live to do this. We shouldn't be something too difficult. And remember that creating habits takes time. It's not something that happens overnight. Like, you need to do it constantly in order for it to change. And steady and sustainable is the key to success. So now it's time for some workplace wellness. How Lifesum can support your team. And I mean, food is amazing in so many ways, and it can actually help us increase productivity. So I've been talking to previously about like having high energy levels, and there's like food plays an important role there. Having enough food and the right type of food in our diets can really help us to have like stable high energy levels. And also the absence of disease, both short and long term. Like, if we eat good, we tend to feel better. We don't get as sick. So food is really important for our immune system as well. And it also enables focus. Like, I don't know if probably you have some experienced that as well. Like, when you're too hungry, it's so difficult to focus. Like, you need to have be enough nourished, have enough food in your body in order to focus properly. And it's the same, like if you're too full of some types of food, it can be also difficult to focus because you feel like a bit of a heartburn or stomach ache. So I mean, food is really important there as well. And then also, as I said before, the social aspect of meals, like having a break from work is really important as well with your colleagues, and like try to find another thing to talk about, which helps you get more energized for the afternoon. And then Lifesum can really help us here. For the employee, like, it ensures that the individuals reach their individual energy and macronutrients requirements. And macronutrients are the fat, protein, and carbohydrates that we eat. And it can also help, as Cecilia mentioned before, like to help to maintain or reach a healthy weight. And I mean, not all people need to lose weight in order to be within what's considered a healthy weight. But it can just be like helpful to see like, okay, am I getting enough nutrients? Am I getting enough fiber? Am I getting enough protein in my diet? So that can really be helpful as well, because many people have no idea how much energy they eat, or that to get a balanced diet, they just like eat what they tend to be eating for years and think that's good for them. But it can be good to like do a little check-in and see if they really get everything they need. And Lifesum can also teach about the nutritional content of food. It's so nice to see like our colleagues using the app and like, oh, I didn't know that this one had so much sugar, or I didn't know that this food that I eat is so high in fiber. That's great. So it's really nice to see as well. And just like using the barcode scanner in the app, for instance, to just scan a product and like, oh, but this was a bit higher in sugar. I'm going to go for this one instead. So that's really nice as well. So it can really help to reach your individual health goals as well. You can set up different, whatever you want to do. If you want to make sure to eat enough protein, if you want to increase your fiber intake, if you want to lose weight, if you want to gain weight, like no matter what your individual goal is, Lifesum is there to help you. And for the employer, I mean, it can drive measurable gains such as increased employee engagement, lower absenteeism churn, and higher productivity, as we previously mentioned. And it provides the management with actionable insights for protecting the individual's privacy at all times. So, I mean, you can benefit from both sides here by using Lifesum. And I mean, tracking, it might seem like strange, but should I track my meal once I've eaten it? And I mean, yes, you should, because it can really benefit you. It can increase as a motivation and can work as a reminder as well, such as like Evan mentioned in the water tracker. Like if I go in there and track my water, I can say like, oh, but I didn't track any vegetables today, or I didn't track any fruits today, or I haven't been moving at all today. So, I mean, it can work as a reminder as well to just like, oh, I should do this, or I need more protein. What should I have for a snack now? So it can really benefit our journey along the way. And now over to Cecilia again.
Yes. So healthy eating actually is a top priority in service for employees. If we look at initiatives that has been most highly valued by employees, we can see that flexible work options is in the top. But then we can see that it's also super important for people to have a healthy eating program at their jobs. It's actually more important than exercise groups or like programs or gym cards, which is super common in most workplaces. And then how employees would be affected if they experience health and well-being issues were not supported by their employees or their employer. And more than 50% say that they would start looking for new jobs. So this is also why it would be super important to promote and help employees to really focus on nutrition and healthy eating plans. And we can also see, like Signe talked about, the abstinence. I don't know what word is absenteeism, sorry, but that people would take more time off work or maybe call in sick could be things that can happen. So we really want to make this a priority. It's a win-win situation, basically, for both employers and employees. So yes, as I mentioned, we started Lifesum for Work 3 years ago. Actually, GE was our first client, and they were the one, interesting enough, that came to us asking if we had this type of program, which we did not at that time. But then we developed it together with them, and it worked amazing. And they're still one of our biggest customers as for today. But then we've grown so much, and we're working with a lot of companies. We're working both business to business and then business to consumer. And then you at Qualitrain or eGym WellPass is one of our partners that we are super happy that we're working with today. Yes. So healthy eating drives team engagement and talent retention, which in turn fuels workplace productivity, just as a summary. And then, yes, here is some words from GE, and that they're saying that they're super happy with us, and it's so much fun that we developed this together with them. And all of the partnerships that we have today, we work super tight with our customers, and we really want to have, for example, like today, webinars together with you guys based on what you want us to talk about, and really work close so that all of our partners really feel like we do help them with their basic needs, because maybe not all partners have the same needs. Yes, and that's about it. And now we will jump into the product. I don't know how familiar all of you are with our product, but we will go through what it looks like today. And just want to say that this is actually a bit of a teaser, because we are redoing our entire design right now, which is so cool, I think, and exciting. But it's not yet released. So not everything might look like this when it is released, but most parts of it. So I will leave it over to you again, Signe.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so as Cecilia said, like it's soon there. We're heading in this direction. But I mean, this is like you get the basic functions of the app. So you insert your individual numbers in the app and select whatever health goal you have. If you want to lose weight, maintain weight, or gain weight. So you insert like your weight, your height, your sex, your age, your activity level. And then we calculate your individual energy requirement, because all of our, like we are all different. So, I mean, of course, we have different energy needs. And then you can select different like diet or meal plans. We can go into that a bit later as well. But then we recommend also like how much carbohydrates you should eat, how much fat you should eat, how much protein you should eat. And then just like start tracking. You can track all of the foods that you usually eat, or you can go in and be inspired in our recipe tab as well, that we have over 1,000 recipes, which is amazing. So here, like for instance, to the right, you can see like if you have tracked a lunch, you can see that's like, oh, here my daily intake is, I'm eating almost like half of what I should eat today. So you have some left for dinner, and you have like some carbs left, some fat left to eat, and some protein left to eat in order to hit your recommendations. And important to say, like it's super difficult to reach your recommendations by number, like exact number, but it's more like a guideline in order for you to eat a balanced diet. And the recipes are all very like easy to cook. They're like, most of them take less than 30 minutes and are like, you get all the nutritional information in there as well. So that is great. And so we have like the diary where we have the food tracking, where you add like, we have an amazing database, which is, we have so many items in there. So if you don't find what you need, it's like, I would be surprised. And we have different food and meal ratings. So you can see like, okay, this food is a bit high on saturated fat, or this food is great because it's rich in dietary fiber. So it can really help you to make mindful choices when looking at food. And we have the amazing barcode scanner, which is one of our most appreciated features, because you can just take your phone, go into the search and press the barcode scanner, and then you can just scan the food item that you're eating. So, I mean, it's amazing if you eat like a pre-made salad, for instance, then you just like, it pops up in the app, you track it, and then it's done. And then we have different habit trackers, where you can track the water in the fruit and the vegetables, and also the fish that you eat. So it's really good to like keep track of that you reach your recommendations there as well. And you can also save, like if you always eat the same breakfast, for instance, then you can just save that meal, and then you have that ready. So you can just like track the same, my normal breakfast, for instance, or whatever you want to call it. And we also have different shortcuts that you can track like the same meal as yesterday. And you can also connect with all the partners apps, such as Runkeeper or Apple Health or Google Connect. So, I mean, that's really helpful as well, if you want to track like your exercise as well.
So for instance, if it says that you have like been running a lot and you burned like, I don't know, 300 calories, then it adds up to whatever you can eat during that day. So you have such a big calorie deficit. Yes,
exactly. And you can also choose to exclude that or include that, no matter how you want to do it. As I said before, like we have so many different diets and meal plans in the app, and that's because we want to fit our everyone's needs. Like some want to eat like a keto diet, some want to focus on like a climatarian, we focus more on the environment, and some want to like boost their protein intake, so want to go for a high protein plan. So that's like the macronutrient distribution is a bit different between the plans. And for the different meal plans, I will go into that later, but these are all the diets. Then you just track your food, whatever you eat, and you also have like access to recipes that matches the diet in the recipe tab. And we also, these are our newest ones, the Runner's Diet and Eat, Lift, Repeat. So a more diets focused on exercise plans. So like, then you get a bit of tips as well, like for what you should eat, like pre a run or during or after and post. So that's these are really really great if you want a diet that matches your some sort of workout plan. And then we have different meal plans, and they are from like 1 week up to 3 weeks. And then we have our pre-planned meals for you. So we have a breakfast, we have a lunch, dinner, and a snack every day. So that's really, it's very easy. You get everything planned for you. And then if you don't want to eat all of those things, like you can just swap the meals for something else if you don't like a certain recipe. But otherwise, it's just like super easy. You get a shopping list as well with all the items that you need. And the plans are, they don't have so many ingredients, so we like reuse the ingredients many times, so you don't need to buy like all of the different types of food. So these can be really helpful if you want to start a bit easier and don't having to think so much. And then, as I said before, the recipes. I mean, if you haven't checked out the recipe tab, you should really do so. They are so delicious. I know that I've been cooking most of them with our chef, and they are really delicious and super easy to cook. And just like simple ingredients, simple instructions, and just great. And you get all of the nutritional information as well. And then you can like use the recipes to see, like you can even filter, like here I need something with around 500 to 600 calories. What can I get? And then you filter by calories, or you can filter based on different like food items that you want to include. So you can really find something that everyone likes. We have like vegan ones, vegetarian one, pescatarian. We have things with fish or with chicken. So you can find all types of recipes in there as well.
Great. And then also we have something called LifeScore, which is really cool, I think. And it's something that's it's a unique measurement for Lifesum. And that really goes beyond calorie tracking, because we really want to focus on this like holistic health approach. So what this is that every week you get the score based on your food intake and activity to improve your habits. And I would say that this is a little bit of a gamified experience to make it easier and more fun. It's based on USDA and World Health Organization recommendations. And what happens is that by the end of every week, you will get the 2 most important things that you need to improve. So this could be like eat more berries, or please include more fish into your diet. So then you will know that during the next week, you can focus on just like these 2 things. And then if you track more meals with example, berries or fish, then you will get a better score that week. And then you can get some other tips and tricks on what you can do for the next week. Of course, you can always have so many more things than 2 that you can improve, but we don't want our users to get overwhelmed, because it's so hard to do like all the different changes at once, and then you tend to fail. So it should be fun and easy. And then, of course, if you are really interested, you can go into details and see more like your current status. Here it says like whole grains, you're perfect on that one. And then you can, but if it would say that it's imbalanced or could be improved, you can click on that one and you will get like a lot of reading to do on whole grains and where different food items you can find it in, etc. And just to make, you can get more knowledge, learn, and then get better and healthier. And then moving on, we want to make everything personal for the users, because not everyone's health journey looks the same. So when you log in, you can go in and see your streaks, how many days you've been logging in. You can see your favorites, which you mark with a heart when it comes to the recipes. So you have everything saved rather than that you have to search for them all the times. So I actually have that in my app. So I have that like an online recipe book actually. And you can follow your progress. and goals, which gives you a lot of motivation, which we think is super important. Everything you can customize as well. You can, in here, you can do the connections to Runkeeper or your Apple Watch, for example. You can also connect it to your Withings scale, for example. So we have a lot of partners that we're working with like that as well. And then, of course, if you have specific food preferences or allergies, you can put that in this list, and then it will exclude, for example, if you're allergic to milk, it will exclude all of those recipes for you. And then if you are, for example, working with a personal trainer or like a nutritionist, or just have a lot of interest and knowledge by yourself, you want to have specific percentage of how much carbs, protein, and fats you want to eat, you can change that accordingly to it. Yes, so the next slide is just a summary of our product. So I think that we covered all of it, so we don't have to go through it all. And yes, we deliver a software plus human-based experience. And when we say human-based, here we mean two things. The first one is that we have our personalization in app, that we want everyone to have a unique plan that works for them. And then the second one is our personal touch on the partnerships, where we really want to work close. And then how it works for you guys today is that you have a really good offer, to be honest, I need to say, together with eGym WellPass or Qualitrain. I don't know if you have switched the name all over yet, but when you log in, or your employees log into eGym WellPass platform, you can find them LiveSum to a really good price of 15 euros for 6 months. And so yes, that's it. Now it's time for questions.
Yes. So we have some questions in the Q&A box, and if you have more questions, you can just type them there as well. So one of them is like, can the app recognize whether the fish, for example, is cooked with olive oil or butter? And the thing is, like, if you cook a recipe like that, I would prefer that if you enter the butter you're using while cooking, or the oil you're using as well, because if you eat that, you need to track it as well, because of course it's a big difference both in calories and also the fat quality, which oil you'll be using. So that's how you ideally should do it. And then we have a question too about data protection. What about data protection? How time consuming is the data entry for the consumer? I mean, to keep the actual consumed food up to date on a regular basis. And I mean, it can be quite tricky to track the food in the beginning. Like, it's a habit that you need to start doing, of course. But I mean, if you start doing it, you realize it's actually quite fun to do as well, to see like, okay, my oats, I need more protein in my oats, or I need to add some more fat into this breakfast. Otherwise, it's a bit unbalanced. And that's maybe the reason why I'm so hungry at like 11 before lunch. So, I mean, and there are like simple ways to do it too. Like, as we said, like if you have if you always have the same breakfast, for example, you can just like save that meal, and then you can just track the same meal as yesterday. So there are ways to like do it more smoothly as well. But of course, like, it's a new habit and you need to start doing it. So it can be a bit tricky in the beginning before you get the habit going, but then it's actually very, very fun to see.
Great. And then we got a question: could we get the documentation per email after your presentation? I think that we can do that. We just need to double check internally. I do know, however, that this is recorded right now, so I don't know if it's going to be uploaded on the eGym WellPass website or what the plan is, but we will try to make sure that you will get this. Yes.
And we also get a question about the data protection. And I mean, when we export data of like food habits, like globally or from country, like, it's never connected to your specific person. It's more like, okay, people in Sweden eat like this, people in the US eat like this. So it's not connected to one person. And I mean, we have...
Maybe it could be with, for example, with a partner, if you want to see what your employees, how they're doing. I mean, we have data on that, but we really make sure that everyone is fine with us sharing it. And then we will not share what everyone, like this individual, it's this, or this individual does this. It's more like a summarized plan to see, like, okay, your OKRs for like with a specific partnership. Okay, do you have enough? Let's say that you want to have this amount of people logging in and tracking things, and we can just send like a broader number on that thing. So not that we will say like, oh, this person doesn't do what it does.
Yes. Any more questions? Oh, there. The calorie intake in the app only shows the basal metabolism. This is a word I should be able to pronounce, but metabolism, right? Because otherwise it's a little bit low. So we use, depending on your goal, of course. So first, like when you input your individual numbers, we calculate your basal metabolic rate, but then we also add your activity level to it. And then if you have a goal to gain weight, we add a certain amount of calories, or if you want to lose weight, we take away some calories, or if you want to maintain weight, you're set there. So it all depends on what your goal is as well. So yeah, and your individual numbers, of course, and like the pace you want to do. Like we never recommend that too high speed for weight loss. So it's only 1 pound or half a kilo per week is our max that we recommend. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we mentioned before, to do with sustainability. And also we don't want to stress the body, because that's what happens if you lose too much weight or skip to eat certain things for a period of time. It really is not good overall for the body. So yes. Are there any more questions? Okay, here we have one. Are the data stored in the EU? So these are a lot of like legal questions. So I'm not like 100% exactly sure how they are stored. I will have to contact our legal department to know exact how things are being handled, but I'm pretty sure that they are handled in a very like safe way, because otherwise not that many people would sign up to the app. Yes.
Yeah, but we can check that and get back to you, of course. It's not our area really, but I know that's doing it in the correct way. Are there any more questions? And if not, I think we should thank you so much for listening. It was really great, and thank you for all of the questions.
Really great questions, and I hope that you learned a lot, and yeah, that you're excited about our app. And this was really fun.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Bye.